Hi, I'm Amity Gaige, and I'm so happy to have a chance to praise libraries, especially the Hartford Public Library. I was lucky to have a chance to speak to the American Librarian Association in Philadelphia this last winter to publicize my new book, Sea Wife, that was just published. And my mother, when she heard that I was invited to the conference, sent me a long list of things I was supposed to say, mostly anecdotes about how libraries are important to us and how they relate to our personal family history. And I said, Mom, I only get a couple minutes to talk about my book, to publicize my book. And she said, okay, well, just tell them one thing, which is that your mother was a librarian when she was pregnant with you. And that's why you're a writer. We all are so influenced by our mothers. Not just our biological mothers, but our found mothers and our literary mothers, spiritual mothers, even our absent mothers. And ironically, it's really not that I gestated in a library. I think that made me a writer. It's really my mother and her story. She was an immigrant. At the end of World War II, she and a wave of other people in Eastern Europe had to flee Stalin. And overnight, she became a refugee. She was only 5 years old. She was luckily sponsored to come over to the United States and eventually made her way up to where else? Connecticut and Manchester, Connecticut. And so she, eventually went on to college. She became a librarian. And later, a second career as a psychologist, trying to help people who had, through traumatic events like she did. I started training to become a citizenship coach at the American Place program at the Hartford Library in the winter of 2020, this past winter. The goal was to become a tutor for people who are trying to pass their citizenship test and their naturalization interview. And I had to relearn American history, which I've forgotten. I also had to do my training and also visit a class. I came in and was so inspired by the students in the class who were studying for their citizenship test. They were so enthusiastic, kind, and warm. There was a man next to me, probably in his late 70s, who was studying for the test, best student in the class, his hand up all the time. It was very inspiring. And the day I was supposed to get my tutee's name was the day the library closed down due to the coronavirus pandemic. I've been thinking about those people a lot during this period of time, and I've been thinking about all the roadblocks, really, that they had before the pandemic, to what they wanted. The difficulty of the test, the transportation to class, the huge fee to pay for the processing of fee for their naturalization, which just went up, is about to go up 82% to over $1,000, all these things. And I thought, in the end, I was like, what, this pandemic's not going to stop them, that immigrants are used to roadblocks and they're survivors. And it sort of made me happy to know that they had a place at the library. The library was going to be there for them on the other side of this. And apparently, I guess Zoom classes have now resumed, which is amazing. So it's people like that you find in libraries, like that man studying for his test. It's stories like his and like my mother's that's the stuff of great fiction, because those stories are stories about the great themes in our lives: survival, tenacity, and love. And those are the things that I write about in my fiction.